Hi guys, so Hiran Murray here, co-founder of Sublime Trading, here with the daily update for the UK and US indices for Tuesday, the 19th of May. Alright guys, hope you're well. Hope you've had a great start to the week. Interesting day yesterday, bullish day across the board, that's in the UK and the US indices. But what does this mean in terms of the bigger picture? Well, starting with the Footsie 100, we had a 4% move to the upside, which created a new high for the month of May. But we're still waiting for a break and close above the high of April for price to really suggest a continuation. So even though we saw bullishness, we still need to stand aside and wait for that confirmation of a continuation to the upside. Moving across to the US indices, we saw a 2.5 to 3% rise across the board. The Nasdaq and the S&P 500, they attempted to break through the high of last month, but didn't quite get there. We saw a close below the high of last month, although including the Dow Jones, all of them are creating new highs for the month of May. So what we could potentially see is a follow through the rest of this week, see those highs of April taken out, and then potentially further resistance levels ahead, particularly the 200 moving average on the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 that we want to see cleared before we can really consider ourselves in an environment where we want to consider taking long trades. So for now, we are seeing bullishness. Looking at the S&P 500 mini as well, there's some bullishness coming in at the start of play today, but ultimately, until we actually get breakouts and out of this range that price is in, break and close above the high of April, and ultimately through these moving averages ahead, we really want to be standing aside and just being a little bit cautious and focusing on protecting our capital. So let's get into the charts and catch up with price action yesterday and what we could potentially see through the rest of today. If you're new to these daily updates, then I recommend starting with the recording that's pinned to the top of our Facebook page so that you get a good understanding of what I go through in this 3-screen setup. Okay, so as always, as already mentioned, this is our 3-screen setup. We have the monthly in the top left, the weekly in the top right, and our daily chart down here across the bottom. First chart we will look at is the Footsie 100, starting with the monthly time frame. April was bullish, and we can see that momentum now continuing through May. Still waiting for that high of April to be cleared to suggest further strength to the upside. What is positive is that price is currently trading above that 6,000 round number. On the daily time frame, price is still below the 200 moving average and the 50 simple moving average. We can see this move to the upside that price has been in since March. This week so far is looking bullish. However, very early in the week, we want to see how the week ends to really get confirmation on whether it is bullish, bearish, or how bullish or how bearish for that matter. Ultimately, we want to see price breaking close above the high of April to suggest strength. If we come down to the daily time frame, we can see price is still below the 200 moving average, but above the 50 moving average and the 20 moving average. This is the bullish move, yesterday's bullish move to the upside. So far today is bearish, but ultimately it was bullish earlier in the day, but we can see the bears have come in and started pushing price back down. But really what we're looking for is price to break and close above that high of April to suggest strength to the upside. If I just get my measurement tool, we can see that there was a 4% plus move to the upside, but that means very little as long as price remains inside this area of consolidation. It's breakouts that suggest strength either to the upside, or if support levels are broken, then weakness to the downside. For now, really standing aside. Moving across to the US indices, starting with the Dow Jones. If we look at the month of May, it is looking bullish now. What we want to see is the high of April cleared and then strength towards the high of last year. On the weekly time frame, price is above the 200 moving average. We can see this bullishness so far this week, below the 50 simple moving average. But again, we want to see a break and close above the high of April to suggest strength. And if we come down to the daily time frame, price is still below the 200 moving average, but we can see the gap up yesterday and the bullish momentum that followed through the gap up. Price is above the 20 and the 50 simple moving average, but we still want to see a breakout above this high to suggest strength. Again, if I get my measurement tool, we can see from the bottom of the gap to approximately the high of the candlestick, there was an almost 4% move to the upside on the Dow Jones. Moving to the S&P 500, starting with the monthly, again we can see that May is now starting to look bullish, but still inside the low and the high of last year. On the weekly time frame, price above the 200 moving average and the 50 simple moving average. We can see that price is looking bullish. On the daily time frame, price is just below the 200 moving average and that 3,000 round number, but above the 20 and the 50 simple moving averages. Again, we had a gap up and that momentum followed through. Price attempted to break through the high of April, but closed just below it. If I get my measurement tool, again, we can see that there was a move of around 3% to the upside yesterday. Moving to the Nasdaq, we can see that the month of May is looking very bullish. We are seeing that momentum continue through May to the upside, and it's now closing on the current all-time high. On the weekly, price above the 200 moving average and the 50 simple moving average. We can see bullishness coming in. Still want to see price breaking close above the high of last week, really to suggest strength. And if we come down to the daily time frame, we can see that price above all three moving averages. Again, a gap up and some bullishness coming through. We can see that this pullback came to the 20 simple moving average, how the 20 simple moving average has acted as support, and we've seen a move to the upside. If I get my measurement tool, we saw a move of around 2% to the upside yesterday. So now what we're waiting for across the board is a convincing break and close above the high, the most recent high. So that'll be the high of May for the Nasdaq, the Dow Jones, and the S&P 500. We want to see price break and close above the high of April. We want to see resistance levels cleared, and ultimately then we want to see price start moving towards these current all-time highs. Moving to the S&P 500 mini, starting with the monthly. Again, we can see that price is looking bullish for the month of May. On the weekly, price above the 200 moving average, but directly below the 50 simple moving average. Bullishness so far this week. And on the daily time frame, price is directly below the 200 moving average and the 3,000 round number, but above the 20 and the 50 simple moving averages. We can see the bullishness from last week. So far today, it's been a quiet Tuesday, a little bit of an indecision candle. That's because price is faced with immediate resistance. What we want to see now is this momentum follow through. A break and a close above the 200 moving average and the 3,000 round number will be significant, and that's as the bias will change from bearish below the 200 moving average to bullish above the 200 moving average, and then ultimately we want to see price move towards that all-time high. So price is looking interesting. We are starting to see price start creeping up, but it's now faced with these key levels of resistance that we want to see cleared. Once those are cleared, we can then start looking for potential long opportunities. That's me for today, guys. Please like, comment, and share. Let's get people watching these recordings on and understanding how to use the indices correctly to build a solid investment portfolio. And I will see you on tomorrow's recording.